Hi everyone, welcome to financialexpress.com special budget series. The finance minister is no Santa Claus, neither is he a magician, but each one of us expect him to give us some big tax relief in the budget. Post demonetization and GST, which would have led to some increase in the tax base, there is a lot of buzz and expectation that the finance minister should award honest taxpayers. To know more about expectations and whether such moves will happen, we have with us ANAND.G. He is a chartered accountant and the author of many books at Taxman. Hi, sir.
Good morning to my viewers.
Hello, sir. Welcome to the show. So the first thing that I want to ask you is, the finance minister and even the prime minister to an extent have hinted that the budget may not be populist in nature. But there is an expectation that there may be some revision on the tax slab front or that the basic tax exemption limit may be tinkered with. What is your view?
My view in this regard is that raising the personal income tax exemption limit is not populist or is not giving any sop.
Okay.
Reason being is this, that today let us not forget that the CBDT or the Income Tax Department is also the nodal agency for monitoring two other acts, fiscal acts which are outside of the Income Tax Act. One is the Benami Act, the Prohibition of Benami Property Transactions Act 1988, as beefed up, enlarged and amended by the 2016 amendments, which came into force just before demonetization on 1/11/2016, and the Foreign Black Money Act of 2015. So the Income Tax Department is tasked with these two also. So it makes sense for the Income Tax Department to engage less with the individuals and shift the resources to these big things. So they are not doing any favor by raising it. And if I can dare to make a hazard a guess, in the last budget, the 2,50,000 to 5 lakh slab was the rate was deducted from reduced from 10% to 5%. If we can hazard a guess, it may be the trendsetter, it may be the precursor to abolishing the slab altogether and starting at the 5 lakhs and raising the threshold exemption to 5 lakhs. It makes a lot of sense. Large number of returns that are filed are below this level, as the Parliamentary Standing Committee in a report had observed. So much of the returns, around 89% of the returns are filed below this level. So there is that Pareto law thing that applies here also, the ABC analysis that some measure applies here. There is no point in expanding the tax base by adding people at the lower end of the spectrum. Tackle the big fish. And to you can have it at 5 lakhs, and from 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs you can have, let us say, you can keep it 20% or make it 10%. 10 lakh to 20 lakhs you have, maybe you may have another slab of 20%. About 20 lakh you have 30%. So that will be sensible. The money that you put in people's hand will inevitably go towards either savings or it may go towards consumption. And if it goes towards consumption, then all through GST and all these things you will recover it back. And I see no reason why the petrol diesel prices cannot be hiked by ₹1 or ₹2 to cover these losses.
So they actually cut the excise duty there.
They cut it on the because of the elections or because of this thing.
But the oil ministry is demanding they should cut it
agree,
further.
but let them give hefty reliefs on the personal tax front, and let them do it here. And another area where I would like them to intervene on personal tax front is the 194 IA, which requires that when you buy a property of above 50 lakhs and above, you have to cut 1% TDS. Now this is very big problem for the individuals to comply with it, because they don't have any staff, they don't have any setup. Even ordinary persons, those who are salaried, they are challenged to take out time and fill up all those returns, TDS returns online and get all those things back. It's a very tedious process for them. And the problem with those forms one fills up, I had a personal experience. Suppose I make one mistake, everything else disappears and I have to restart filling it again. So these kind of problems are there on that front. So 194 IA, individuals should be bailed out of it. You keep corporates, and why do you want to have individuals sticking in? Anyway, if somebody negotiates a 50 lakh deal, to get out of TDS, he will show less than 50 lakhs on paper.
Okay, so you're saying there is already a tendency to evade.
Evade. So you are actually creating a culture, perverse incentives to avoid black money, to avoid white money and go for black. So as far as individuals go, you can get out of it. Secondly, you already got RERA. If I am purchasing in a RERA approved project, I have to pay the entire amount by way of check as per the model agreement there through banking channels. RERA is even more stricter than Income Tax Act section 269 SS, which allows a 20,000 rupees in cash. So they want everything in check in a RERA project. So that and the builder has to deposit it in a separate escrow account, the money. So when you have all these checks and balances, when you have all these things in RERA projects, why do you want to stick with these outdated things, relic of the past? Right. So you at least, if you don't want to scrap that section, you at least bail out the individuals from it. And raising this to 5 lakhs will have one more added advantage. Lot of corporates are deducting TDS. A lot of organizations are deducting TDS. You are sparing the workload. So you are contributing to ease of business.
Right.
And this money, this time will be productively invested in other activities, and they will bring more revenue. And whatever you lose by way of income tax exemptions, you will recover it by way of GST and petrol tax and everything. It will come back into your coffers through indirect taxes.
And as you were saying that a lot of money would also go into savings.
Yes.
So on that front,
savings, this thing is rises, and your investments will naturally get pushed up. Banks' capacity to lend increases.
right.
There is one other thing that they may want to do is that tax saver deposit. They may want to reduce it from 5 years to 3 years, a lock-in period. Of course, they can do it outside of the budget by changing the scheme, but they can even announce it there. They may give some incentives, or they may even increase the Section 80 TTA, that 10,000 rupees for saving bank deposit. They may increase that limit.
But what about Section 80C? Is there a case to?
There is very much a case to. There is a very much a case to increase that, because 1,50,000 today is nothing.
Right.
So they can increase it to.
I mean, most of that
yes.
1,50,000 gets exhausted in your PF.
Yes, in your PF, in your insurance policy, in your child's education fees, in your housing loan repayment, whatever it is, you take it. It gets exhausted. Today you buy a 5 lakh rupees, 50 lakh rupees house. Your EMIs come to something like 40, 50,000 a month. So the couple of lakhs go by way of principal. So that is woefully short. You can make it 5 lakhs. You can increase that limit to 5 lakhs and generate savings. So effectively, you should disengage with anybody earning less than 75k a month.
Okay.
And also give pre-filled returns.
Right.
And have the pre-filled income tax returns. Now you have all the information, 26 AS, and you have every damn thing of every individual linked with an Aadhaar or a PAN. So what difficulty have you?
There's one medical reimbursement component which...
That 15,000 thing.
15,000...
I don't think that is such a big issue there, because the 15,000 is for your routine cough and cold and that kind of thing, your routine medical expenses for you and your family. It is not covering the hospitalization. There are separate clauses for free hospitalization or concessional hospitalization perquisite. Moreover, there you have the Mediclaim 80D. There 5,000 of that limit is for your actual medical expenses. And you have other sections like 80U, 80DD, 80DDB and whatnot, which deal with medical deductions. So that is not a big issue. They may, however, look at enhancing 80D deduction, because Mediclaim today is become very costly. So they can raise that limit. They can tinker with it. That is of course there. But I sure expect them to raise the savings account deduction limit by at least double it, so that more money is kept by way of savings, and banks get low cost funds to create credit expansion.
Okay. Anything that you think the finance minister should introduce for women?
There's no need to go, because we are today moving into a gender neutrality thing. So when you have disengaged with personals, individuals, women also will benefit automatically. Everybody will benefit. So there's no need to create a otherwise, when you introduce incentives for women, the people will try to shift, men folk will try to shift part of their income to their file. So this basic problem today is that lot of ingenuity and energy is spent in reducing the 30 rupees to 3 rupees.
But But what about senior citizens? Shouldn't they get some benefits?
You have a uniform limit for everybody, high limit. You get disengage from taxing everybody. Another thing, they can have a serious reform on in TDS. If anybody pays in cash, let him deduct 30% TDS. And if it is done by banking channels, you have no TDS on it. So any company can always ask anybody, you are taking by check, then I don't have to cut TDS. If you are taking cash, I will cut 30% TDS. Straight away the fellow will opt for check and everything will go by. And this reduces the workload for the companies. Right. You see, the basic problem today with the TDS is, you are making so many enterprises and so many individuals, you are making them unpaid tax collectors. You don't pay them a single percentage of the money they deposit as a incentive for them. You only think of danda. You can only think of stick every time. That if you don't deposit, I will charge you interest, I will charge you penalty, I will prosecute you. But if they deposit the amount they collect and deposit, after all, they also are incurring some expenses in complying with it. They have a setup, they have a staff, they have infrastructure for it. So why don't you pass on 1%? So if you cannot do that, you at least make this simplification that if it is by cashless means, there should be no TDS. Right. This will actually help to simplify. Lot of productive work, and every bank account today is linked with a PAN and Aadhaar. Right. So let the other person pay his personal income tax himself.
Apart from this, what is it that, what are the out-of-box ideas that you can suggest to the finance minister? Is there any best international practice that he should follow? And should there be some interesting award-based system or reward-based
Basically,
system for honest actions?
yes. Basically, if you see, rewards are a more powerful motivator than punishment. Punishment should be there in a limited number of cases. The stick should be wielded and ruthlessly wielded. There is no question. But that should be in a limited case. Why? You cannot wield stick against anybody and everybody. Right. The welcome change that I noticed in the income tax department in the last couple of years is they are issuing this gold certificate, silver certificate, right. Bronze certificate. Yes, yeah. You are getting it through the email. This is one aspect. But just praise is itself not very insufficient. Right. You put your money where your words are. And you will notice one thing, ancient India understood the power of carrots. Carrots are more powerful than the stick. Right. You will find every other Sanskrit shloka contains a falashruti, which says that if you read it once, you will get these benefits. You will read it twice, you will get these benefits. You will get thrice, you will get these benefits. But nowhere they say if you don't read this, you will go to hell. Right. Even Hanuman Chalisa contains Jo Yehu Pade Hanuman Chalisa, Hoye Siddhi Saki Gauri Sa. So they are saying you read Hanuman Chalisa, you will reap these benefits. Tulsidas-ji didn't say that if you don't read Hanuman Chalisa, Narak Pave. He didn't say that. Right. So the positive motivation was used. And the tendency with our our government would be, they would have, if they were in place of Tulsidas-ji, they might well have written, Jo yahan nahi pade Hanuman Chalisa, notwithstanding anything contained in any other provisions of this act, he shall be liable to such and such penalty. Right. Now this kind of psychology, every time using the stick doesn't work. So have some kind of an incentive, financial and incentive also, positive reward that say last 5 years your whatever taxes you have paid, 10 times that you will be entitled to an interest-free loan in case of emergency, payable in so many installments, which you can avail in a painless manner through ATM or through whatever way. Right. So you work that out. That is one way out. Second way is to give some insurance or some kind of additional health insurance cover or something like that to the assessee. That could also be another possibility. The larger that should be linked to the amount of taxes he has paid. So the larger the taxes he pays, the larger the medical insurance cover. So that becomes an incentive on him to be honest. Right. So that also government can work out. The third, these kind of incentives will help to bring out more honesty among the taxpayers. And also, you must give more incentives for cashless. As I said, don't cut TDS on cashless payment. That is one part. Second part is make GST a great shopping time. Right. With India's IT prowess, information technology prowess, I don't see why you cannot work out a cashback of 50% of GST where payment is made by check or by credit card or debit card or online. Because these are non-evasive. The person has to show that in his account. Right. You will get GST also on it, you will get income tax also on it. So why not give him, he's disclosing full turnover gets disclosed. So I collaborate with you in ensuring that it is not off record. In GST, what was happening particularly in this 28% slab items was, this half bill was happening in this marble and granite and all these kind of things. They were doing this half bill kind of thing. That you prepare bill, half bill for part of the thing, rest of the part will be in cash. So why have that? Why should I strike a deal? Because 28% is just too much. Because I'm not buying marble for 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees that I can pay 28% on it. I'm buying marble maybe for 1 lakh, 2 lakhs, 5 lakhs. On that 28% becomes a very tidy amount. So why you are creating that moral pressure on me? Rather you tell me that if I make cashless payment, where I collaborate with you as a government in insisting on cashless, you give me a 14% GST. 28%, let him charge 28%. Maybe 1 month down the line, 2 months down the line, 3 months down the line, you give me a cashback.
Right.
So this will incentivize buying.
Right. Of course.
This will incentivize buying. People will go out, rush out to buy and keep it for a limited period and extend it. Maybe when you extend it with 40% cashback.
Right.
So you make people go out and buy.
Right.
And that will bring you revenue. High tax rates, empirically you will observe that high tax rates bring in low revenue.
Right. It's an economic theory. Right.
It's not merely an economic theory. Low tax rate doesn't mean that crooks will turn honest.
Right.
It prevents honest from turning crooks.
Right.
Because 28% is a threshold where any decent person will feel the pinch and he will be compelled to be dishonest.
Right.
So you avoid that. So that you would have observed that when tax rate, income tax top rates were lowered to 30% and 97, collection improved and compliance improved thereon. Empirically, always, even GST Council is reducing the rates. Only problem that is happening in GST Council reducing rates is that they are giving incentive to the business and expecting it to be passed on to consumer. And they are making a GST apparatus to monitor that. The anti-profiteering body. So this is very complicated. Instead, you make the consumer the empowered person to get the discount. Keep that thing in the consumer's hand, the key in the consumer's hand. You would have observed that G to C to B was done in your LPG, where earlier that fellow used to get the subsidy, he used to reduce the price and sell it to you at a reduced price. But there he used to divert the cylinder. But now they say that you sell it at normal price to the consumer, we will take care of the subsidy. And they credit it direct to your account. This has had an impact. So similar thing in GST, don't pass on tax benefits to them. Rather, give me tax benefits based on my behavior. If I buy through credit card or debit card, give me a cashback. Why I'm saying give me a cashback? Because I don't want to lower the rate, set up a special rate for cashless, because that can interfere with the credit input tax credit of the trader. So I don't want that system to get messed. Let him charge me full tax. You as a government give me the cashback.
That's good.
I have some kind of an app, have some kind of a thing. I upload the invoice. Take 1 month, take 2 months, take 3 months, but credit the amount to my account.
Okay.
And this becomes a incentive.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. We sure hope Finance Minister Arun Jaitley is listening to a lot of out-of-the-box ideas that were suggested right now. For all that and more on budget, don't forget to log on to financialexpress.com.